Is Dinosaur National Monument Utah's best kept secret between the wildlife, the ancient history, and the beautiful scenery? It just might be. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't look down, Dave. The YouTubers, Becky here, rolling with the Davises. We're out wheeling again in Dinosaur National Monument. We are once again on the Josie Morris Loop. This time we're headed the opposite direction. I'll link the previous video below from where we used the Josie Morris Loop to get to the Colorado side of Dinosaur National Monument. Just to let you know, we had to cut this trail short. Keep watching and you'll see why. Dave didn't particularly care for this narrow shelf road with that steep drop-off. He doesn't ever seem to mind when the drop-off's on my side. If you watch enough YouTube videos, you know we all say that the camera never shows how steep it really is. Imagine how steep this really was. Side-by-sides and UTVs are not allowed in Dinosaur National Monument, but this part of the trail is on BLM land. There are a lot of trails that the side-by-sides and UTVs can use that our Jeep would not fit through. A lot of this area has no cell phone GPS service, so it's a good idea to have some kind of an app that you can use to follow these trails. We use both Gaia and Onyx, not sponsored by either one. Don't look down, Dave. And then this thunderstorm rolled in, so rather than continue on this trail all the way back to Dinosaur National Monument, we took a detour out to the town of Jensen. We were very glad that we were on this flat section when the rain rolled in. I have a feeling that that red clay dirt on the other part of this trail could get very slick. We got to go back and do the section from Jensen to Blue Mountain Road that we didn't get done on this trip. This is the Swelter Shelter. They found tools here that were 10,000 years old, and they think the petroglyphs are about 1,000 years old. Really close to the road. Short little trail. Do they always look like aliens to you? Isn't that something that's been discussed through the ages? I mean, we've seen them where they've got more than 5 fingers. These all seem to have 5 fingers. Right. There's one right there, and I'll take a picture because I might see it better. But that's got horns, and it just...
Yeah, they're very making their hands, but we've seen some, like say, with 6 toes, or someplace we were at that were
right.
6-toed people.
We delayed our hike by a few minutes, went up to the Swelter Shelter because we saw these school buses here. We wanted to let them have a little bit of a head start. Moderate to difficult. What do you think, Dave? Try it and see. I like that attitude. It's worth it just stopping here for the view. Look at the different formations. The trail guide at the beginning of the trail does give you a description of what all the different formations and layers are. I haven't seen anything that says which is the easiest way to do this, clockwise or counterclockwise. So we're just going to head up the wash. The guide says these layered sandstone rock were ancient sand dunes. We are seeing some animal paths through the banks and things here. Probably mule deer. Supposed to be elk and bighorn sheep in the park. We have seen mule deer in the area. So we do these hikes not just for YouTube, but we love to learn along the way. We love seeing the beautiful scenery. And also, we think our health has improved since we've retired and we've been out walking. at least 3 or 4 times a week we do a hike. So retirement's been good for us. So far there have been arrows along the way pointing the trail. One of the things we read was some places it can be difficult to follow. Maybe these have been installed since that was written. Came up that little hill right after those 2 arrows, and the terrain has changed a little. I got some scrub brush here. Oh, that's pretty. There's one of the bigger striped lizards we've been seeing for the last few minutes here on the more rugged part of the trail. He likes having his picture taken. Ooh, don't get in front of me, dude. There we go. Cool. And the terrain changes once again as we go down the switchbacks. Came back down into the wash after we saw that green lizard. I don't like walking in the sand, but probably easier than scrambling up and down those hills. And then the view's a little different. We're no longer looking at the big stone formations. These have more vegetation and different colorations. Turn right and start up through this little, I'm going to call it a gully here. Not somewhere you'd want to be in a flash flood. Keep that in mind when you're hiking. Always know the weather. Especially in these desert areas. Look at this Indian paintbrush. Something else in, yeah, some other purple one in there with it too. Sun's hitting this one much better, very vibrant, very pretty. Dave and I were just talking about how hot it would be down in this gully, wash, whatever they call it, on a really warm day. It's not too bad today, but late this afternoon it might be worse. They say the hottest time of day is about 5 o'clock here. Now we have started uphill. Probably getting out of this gully. Ooh, a little breeze up here, that feels good. Very nice. What a difference in the view, though, from this side to this side. Norm number 11 has a picture of the Mormon tea, which is right by the trail here, and then it also talks about the active soils here that support life. The soil itself is actually alive. That's why you want to try to stay on the trail any time you see that kind of soil formation. We got about a mile to go, and the views are just spectacular. A unique rock here, all kinds of pock marks, different colorations. And after a little rest stop at 12, headed up the hill. Now we are into the rocky descent, almost to where the trail loops back. So 0.3 mile connector to the Desert Voices Trail, which goes to the Split Mountain Campground and boat ramp. This is the way we continue to the Sound of Silence trailhead, half mile. That's what we just came down into a valley. With lots of flowers. This is what you always see on National Geographic, fields of flowers. It's like one last climb here at the end. So many different terrains and rock formations and soil types. Look at the size of those junipers. They must get a lot of water funneled down here. We are at waypoint number 15, and it says if you want to do a side quest, side hike, you can hike up this slick rock to that dome, and you get fantastic 360-degree views. Not on our list of things to do today, maybe next time. Look at these red streaks through here. Now, my knees felt that.
Steep right there.
Yep, I'm going to turn this off and put it away. I didn't understand why part of this trail was rated as hard until we got to the last quarter mile before the end of the loop, and it comes back to the straight section to the parking lot. It's a scramble. So we finished up the Sound of Silence trail here in Dinosaur, and we came to the visitor center and ate our lunch. Just want to talk about the trail a little bit. Maybe Dave will back me up on this, but I don't know of any other trail we've ever done that had so many different surfaces that you walked on, from slick rock to sand to red clay, and then the gullies and rock scrambling, the rock scrambling. So a very unique trail. It's in the desert, so as you all know, if you do it the wrong time of day, it's going to be really hot, especially in that where those red, I keep calling it a gully. I don't know what they call it here.
But it's a red bank wash in there, and it gets very warm. It was, what, 60s today, and it actually, with the sun so bright, it felt really warm.
Right, and that's part of the problem. It's dark, and it's going to absorb the sun. It's just going to make it hotter. You get up at the top, though, there was a nice breeze. Yep. But just be careful. Take plenty of water either way. It's a nice trail to do. Yes, and good shoes with good grip. It is a well-marked trail. The only place there was a little confusion is where you drop down, kind of where there's some boulders and stuff. I was talking about where we were scrambling down right behind the elementary kids. That was just kind of rock, and you just kind of had to find your way to the bottom. There are arrows. They put signboards, little signboards up with arrows on them. So not really hard to follow if you download All Trails or whatever app you like to use. Mine, for some reason, quit tracking for a little bit. I don't know what was going on with the phone. It was the phone because it actually took pictures of the app. So I don't know. Maybe the buttons got pushed in my pocket. But anyway, if you get to Dinosaur, do the Sound of Silence trail. While at Dinosaur, be sure to go into Vernal and visit the Utah Heritage Museum. They've got artifacts from the original inhabitants of the area. They've got displays showing how the original pioneers that came to the area lived and how their life improved over time. They've got a large firearm exhibit. They talk about the history of the mining in the area, and of course, that's tied to the railroad. The history of Vernal is shown through displays of some of their professional people, as well as other businesses in the area. They pay tribute to their veterans. There's a display about the life and times of Josie Bassett Morris. Rodeo champion Lane Frost was born in the Utah Basin area. There's a display talking about the fairly famous outlaws that spent time in this area. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and the Hole in the Wall gang was known to frequent the area. The most unique display in the museum is this 1950s era cataract boat that was used on the Green River. This particular boat was used to make a promotional film supported by the Union Pacific Railroad to try to get tourists back into the area by riding the railroad. They had started traveling by car and airplane, and the Union Pacific Railroad was trying to get more customers. The railroad wanted to show how much fun you could have riding a boat down the Green River. These boats could haul the boatman and 3 other people along with 500 pounds of gear. They'd been used on the river for quite some time at this point. The most unique feature to me is that this point that we see is not the front of the boat. They actually went down the river with this flat part of the boat ahead. These boats were used on the upper portion of the Green River until the Flaming Gorge Dam was built and the river changed completely. There's also a lot of good information about the Reynolds family, who were river outfitters for quite some time. We are on Cub Creek Road. We stopped at Petroglyph site number 14 on the audio tour. And we're going to hike up this little trail and see some pretty cool petroglyphs. I did not download this All Trails map before we started this trail, and when we got to the trailhead, there was no service. I was able to get it downloaded at the top of the hill, so this is the tracking from the top of the hill back to our car. This trail is got about 200 feet of elevation gain in about a quarter mile, so it gets pretty intense for a little bit, but well worth doing. We are actually headed up on this cliff face. I think I see a baby sheep there on the left. It's funny for there to be such a large concentration of just one represented animal here. It's usually not what you see. But somebody was surely into their lizards. Okay, folks, what do you think? Blowgun or flute? Let me know in the comments. So this big lizard drawing here is the reason most people do this trail, and it's kind of the symbol of this part of the park. But be sure you take time to look at the rest of the petroglyphs as you go, because remember, they do tell a story. By the way, that big lizard is probably 6 to 8 feet long up on the side of that cliff. If you're like us, you're going to be asking yourself, how'd they get up there and do that? And like I said earlier, why so many lizards? Because when you start looking in that area, you start counting. It's like 1, 2, oh, there's another one, and there's another one, and there's another one. So somebody was really, like I said before, into their lizards. This trail does continue on beyond what's actually been tracked on all trails, but it gets very narrow very quickly along the side of that cliff face with a lot of loose gravel. If you opt to do that, be very careful. I know everybody does this trail for the petroglyphs, but don't forget to turn around and check out these spectacular views. I believe most of what we see in here would have been the Josie Morris homestead at one time, also known as the Josie Morris Ranch. And speaking of that, that's going to be our next stop in this video. We tried to do the Hog Canyon Trail out of the ranch homestead, and we had to turn around for our own safety. Keep watching. We are starting out here at the Josie Mars Ranch in Dinosaur National Monument, hitting the Hog Canyon Trail. We've been here, what, since Monday, Dave? We've been here since Monday. Yep. It's now Friday, and it's amazing how much things have greened up just in the few days we've been here.
It's Saturday.
Is today Saturday? Oh, it is Saturday. That's right. Last night was pizza night. That's right. We're heading out tomorrow, so thank you. It is Saturday.
And it's not snowing. This is
no.
cottonwood. The cottonwoods are
dropping,
blooming out, I guess.
Yeah, they're dropping their blooms.
Snow out here.
Wonder if that was Josie's for crossing the fence. They say you still see some of her irrigation ditches. There we go.
Yep.
Guess that water we just walked across, part of one of her irrigation ditches. And out into a meadow with a beautiful view. We're here the first week of May, so not intense heat. It's supposed to be up in the 80s today. Looks like we have officially started up in the canyon. Oh, kind of echoes. Dandelions in the desert. Much cooler as we get back into the canyon here. Might be a good choice for a warm day hike. Bighorn sheep. This may end our hike.
That's a pretty good ram.
You can say that.
Yeah, I guess. The only thing I can do is move over, not disturb him. That one must put his head down. It's laying low.
This is our first ever hike ending wildlife encounter. In this box canyon, we are not going to push in on them. We're going to give them their space. We did run up on a rattlesnake in Catoctin Mountain Park in Maryland, but we were able to get around him, her, whatever it was. But there's no way around these.
There's the other one. He's got his head up a little bit again, about 50 feet behind that one.
There was a third one that went off to the right.
Yeah, the third one went on the trail around.
You heard us mention Friday night pizza night. That would have been at the Vernal Brewing Company. Good beer, good pizza. Check them out.